I want to talk today on why you don't feel good enough. You've read the books, you've listened to the podcasts, you've done the work, at least you're trying. Or maybe you aren't trying. Maybe you felt like you're not good enough for so long that you stopped trying altogether. You figured, I guess this is just the way I am. Either way, the result is the same. You don't feel like you're good enough. Whether you're working on it or not, you deserve to know the truth. You're not broken. You're buying into a lie that says your worthiness is something outside of you. Do you see that lie? We're trying to do things outside of us to earn worthiness. So let's talk part one, the dopamine trap and self-help. I want to start with the brain. For the person who's been studying personal development for months or maybe even for years, I think this one's for you. I know that you feel like you're stuck, you're trapped, and you're working really hard to improve, and you improve by consuming content. You're like, I need to learn what's wrong. And when you're learning, sometimes that makes you feel good. You feel like you're achieving something because you're moving in a positive direction. You're trying to show action in a positive direction. All right, let's say you go through something really hard, a failure, a breakup, loneliness, or maybe even you just can't get this inner voice to stop telling you that you aren't good enough or that you should be farther ahead by now. You decide to make a change. You grab onto a motivational video, kind of like this one, maybe a podcast or another productivity tip. And for a moment, you feel inspired. You feel stoked. You feel motivated. You're like, I'm ready. And so you see what you can do in the future. You know what you want to change. And you might feel a mild rush of dopamine or excitement or hope for the future. You're like, I'm reading this, I'm learning this. And you might go and tell all your friends, you're like, look at what I'm learning. And that feels great, right? You feel a little bit better because you watched a productivity video, you watched or read the book. You feel better because your emotions of not good enough are temporarily resolved. But the fact that nothing actually changed keeps eating at you. And you know that. So you get stuck in this loop where you're like, I'm in pain or not good enough. So you're here, you're like, I'm going to study, I'm going to learn. That's the next bubble. We get a dopamine hit. Once we've gotten that dopamine hit, we have a little bit of relief. And that feels nice. It's awesome. I'm really excited that I can actually feel a little bit of relief. But the problem is the fact that you relieved the not good enough feeling isn't actually long-term change. No change leads to feeling the pain of not good enough. This is what we call a habit loop. And I think that that's really important to understand is that you are reinforcing the habit and that's all that you're doing. See, this isn't growth. This is just a feedback loop. And it's actually very addictive. I was definitely addicted to this for a long time because every time you feel off, your brain remembers what gave you that dopamine hit and it was studying. And so now it wants another video, another tactic, another piece of advice. It's just like emotional fast food that only fills you up for a few hours before shame creeps back in. Never mind the fact, actually, that this video is exactly that type of video. It's part of your problem. And it will only matter that you're watching this video if you get outside and you make the change, right? So turn off YouTube and do something after you watch this video. You can even turn this video off right now if you know what it is that you need to change. Maybe you learned it in a podcast or a video prior to this and you're like, man, I just need to apply that thing. And I know that. But if you want to keep watching or if you don't know what to do yet, let's get into it. This is part two. For those who still don't know what to do and are still watching, I know that you want to be better. And maybe it feels like it doesn't matter. Or nothing's going to work anyway. Maybe you think that this is just the way you are. Maybe you feel like you're not smart enough. You're not confident enough, not loved. And you feel like that is just a lousy fact. That's something that you got to deal with. Maybe people told you that you have great potential and you just can't connect with it. I was in that boat for a long time where people are like, you're doing awesome. I was like, I'm not. But maybe people told you the opposite and they said, you're lazy, you're unmotivated, you're not cut out for much. Maybe people told you that, or maybe you told yourself that. And so now the idea of self-improvement doesn't really inspire you. It just kind of annoys you. It crushes you. Maybe it overwhelms you, or it sounds like a joke, right? You see other people talking about their goals and their morning routines and their mindset shifts, and you wonder, what is wrong with me? I can't even start. What's going on? Why should I try if nothing ever changes? Why would I get my hopes up just to be disappointed again? And I want to be really, really clear. The problem is not your ability to change, and it's not your willpower. It's not even the lack of knowledge. Your problem is your fixed belief, the idea that you're incapable of feeling good about yourself, or that worth is something that you're born with or without. Not a lot of people believe that they're born worthless, but a lot of people do believe that if you don't succeed right out of the gate, then you missed the train. You already lost. The idea like, yeah, I got to start strong, succeed immediately, and I feel disqualified. I feel like I lost. Those beliefs are lies. I want to go a little bit deeper for a second. Psychologically speaking, the belief that we're talking about comes from something called learned helplessness. It's a mental state where after experiencing repeated failure or rejection, especially when you're younger, formative years, you'll start to believe that your actions don't matter. You've become helpless. You learned that you're helpless because no matter what you did, you never succeeded. You're like, I'm never going to be chosen and I'm not loved no matter what I'm doing. So instead of fighting back or trying again, your brain does something extremely human, very natural. It conserves energy by stopping the effort. It says, I'm not going to try again if I already know how this ends. And that wiring stays with us for a long time. Even when our circumstances or our lives change, we keep it, right? Even when opportunities show up, even when we technically can grow, we don't, because deep down, a part of us still thinks we're in that stuck place. I'm never going to be loved, right? I want to emphasize, this is not a flaw in your character. This is just something that your nervous system noticed, and it's a pattern that it learned. But one that was learned can also be unlearned. So I want you to know that you're not lazy, you're not weak, you're not defective. You're just trying to protect yourself against disappointment. And I want you to know that that's okay. Part 3, is it laziness or is it fear? And so to both groups, whether you're stuck in endless studying or stuck in paralysis, it's usually not because you don't know what to do. It's because deep down, a part of you doesn't believe that you deserve the life that change would bring, right? You think, even if I succeed, I'm still going to be me, and I don't like me. I don't like who I am. And so you work on yourself endlessly, hoping that you can finally reach a version of you that deserves love and rest and belonging. I did that for a long time. Or you never start at all because you don't think you're allowed to win. So either you keep trying to earn your way to worthiness, hoping that one day you'll feel like it's enough, or you give up and you just call it realism. You're like, I'm a realist, when really you're just a very strong pessimist. And again, both paths are rooted in the same exact wound that you aren't enough as you are. How do I emphasize this enough? The lie is, I'm not enough as I am. And maybe a part of you is like, I really do need to make some changes, and I know that I'm not enough as I am. I live in my parents' basement, and I haven't worked in, right? Maybe there's a part of you that's going to fight me on this, and you're like, I'm genuinely not enough as I am. I get it. From a psychological perspective, this is how your mind tried to protect you. If I can just be perfect, no one will reject me. If I can stay small, no one will expect anything from me. If I don't try, I won't fail. That fear-based thinking wires itself into your decisions over time. We start to confuse safety with smallness. Playing small feels safe. Playing big feels kind of dangerous. If you want growth, your nervous system is going to resist it because it sees success as unsafe. Success feels too good to be true. I don't want to get my hopes up, right? We've said that. So to make sure that it's not true, how do I say this? If we say too good to be true, your brain is going to run away from things that are too good because your brain doesn't know what's right or wrong. It just knows what we focus on. And if you've said the phrase, it's too good to be true, or I don't want to get my hopes up, your brain is going to start running away from good opportunities because it thinks that's not a part of what I get in life. That's not who I am. Good things are outside of my identity. Not because you don't want to win, but because winning triggers a deeper fear. And that is, what if I get what I want and I still feel empty? What if I succeed and I'm still not enough? This is why you sabotage yourself, not because you don't want to win, but because winning triggers a deeper fear. And that is, what if I get it and I still feel empty? That's what keeps you stuck, not laziness, fear. But the beautiful thing is, once you see that fear for what it is, you can start building a new association. We want to start believing that growth can be safe, that change can be good, that being seen can lead to connection instead of shame. That's the beginning of real freedom. Another fear that keeps a lot of people frozen is, what if I actually try? What if I give it my all and nothing changes? What if I put in the effort to wake up early, to go to therapy, to take social risks, to push myself, set boundaries, start something new, maybe start a business, maybe get a job, and it doesn't work? What if I still feel anxious? What if I still feel depressed? What if I still don't like myself? And I want you to know that this fear is deeply valid, especially if you've tried before. If you've put your heart into change and saw no return on your investment, your brain is going to remember that disappointment and the exhaustion And it's going to start whispering, please don't do it again. Please don't waste the energy. We don't have that much, right? And that's another reason that a lot of us stay stuck. Not because we're afraid of change, but because we're afraid of wasted effort. It says, why pour your energy into something that might not go anywhere? Why open your heart up to healing just to have it cracked again? And psychologically speaking, this is just your brain trying to preserve energy and protect you, right? Our brain, the whole function is just trying to survive. And it doesn't realize that progress is important to you. Yeah, it just sees staying the same as maintaining homeostasis. That's the only priority. You see what I'm saying? But it does keep you living a smaller life than the life that you were created for. The truth is, I want you to know that effort is never wasted. Even if it doesn't get you where you want or where you expect, it still builds resilience and clarity, insight, strength, and new neural pathways in your brain. Every single time you try changing the relationship that you have with fear or with your mind or with depression, you're proving to yourself that you're the kind of person who cares. You're suddenly the kind of person who makes an effort, even if the results take longer than you expect. Yes, I get it. Trying again takes courage. But I want you to know that not trying actually costs you more. Don't let fear of wasted effort stop you from trying to be who you're meant to be or doing what you're meant to do. Here's some more good news. There's actually something that you can do that works. From a psychological standpoint, the antidote to helplessness is agency. It's small, consistent action in the face of fear. Not grand gestures, not overhauls, not resolutions, just one movement. Repeated. It rewires your brain to believe again. Just a 1 degree shift in the direction of an airplane can change where it ends up by thousands and thousands of miles. In the same way, you teach your brain, you teach your subconscious, you teach your nervous system that effort produces feedback. By 1 degree, just like the airplane, you're going to change where you end up completely. You want to teach your brain that this leads somewhere, even if it's not dramatic at first. This is called behavioral activation. And I want you to know that you don't need to see the whole path. You just need to take the next step and teach your body that steps matter. It's like that song, one foot in front of the other. The path to change isn't paved with inspiration. It's paved with repetition. And every time you show up for yourself, even in small ways, you restore the belief that your effort is not vain. If you can take anything out of this video, I want you to know that your effort matters, your voice matters, you are qualified and capable for change. You did not lose the race. You are not disqualified just because you feel broken. You are not disqualified because you feel stuck. This is exactly the place where transformation begins.